Hello, everyone. Welcome to the broadcast for this evening, this Sunday, February 16th. How are you all doing today? Great to be here with you. Granny, you have beaten me in my own chat. You were first. I should have been first in my own chat. No, I missed my opportunity. You were first. That's what I need to start doing. Whenever I start the stream, I need to put first in the chat. Put first in the chat, and then I will be the one to be first always. I would do that next time. I would do that next time. Oh yes, spam them hearts. Spam them hearts. Let me see if I can spam them. Let's see. Shoot. There it is. There it is. Spammed. Fantastic. Well, great to have you all here today. I hope you had a fantastic weekend and are ready to start the brand new week. We are halfway through February already. Actually, a little bit more because February has less days. So I think this year, it's not a leap year, right? So we just have the 28 days. Yeah, we just have the 28 days of February. So technically, Friday was the halfway point, the 14th. So we're more than halfway done the month of February. Honestly, I cannot wait until it gets warmer. Month and a half. Here we go. Here we go. Loxky, great to have you here. How are you doing? What's happening, my bros? What's happening, my bros? Yeah, what is happening, my bros? Bros and lady losers. That's right, lady loser. Oh, what's this? There's just one mouse today. You know why? I don't know. It's like almost as if someone forgot about the mouse. It wasn't me who forgot. You know, it is an event. It is an event when the mouse comes and visits, but it was forgotten. It was forgotten. So sad. So sad. So yeah, we just have the one mouse today. Just the one. Funny stuff, right? But you know, he's going to have his time to shine for a bit. Look how cute. That's right. He's so cute, isn't he? Look, he likes this, see? And because of how long my nails are, he really likes it. He said it feels really, really nice. Look at that. It just looks so funny looking. Anyway. I'm being goofy, aren't I? I'm being goofy. I say nothing much, just trying to survive. Orange, that's right, nugget. That was the word that you used. I was trying to think of what that term was, because I've heard people say Cheeto, but... or nugget, reign of terror, yeah. Or the taint of terror. The taint of terror. His taint is so terrible. Oh my gosh, okay. Yeah, I think people, for the most part, will be fine. I don't put too much, I don't get too worked up about that sort of stuff, to be completely honest with you. You know, it's like, perhaps we don't agree with much of anything, or, you know, nothing at all even. But you have to remember that you have to be the one to come out stronger than anyone else. Anyone else trying to bring you down or stop you, you just have to stand up and just be yourself, no matter how challenging it is. That's the way I like to view it, at least. There we go. Get this little mouse on the screen a little more. He's going to be the star of the show today. He is. How cute. Did everyone also have a nice Valentine's Day as well? If you celebrate that, I don't really like holidays for the most part, and that was not one that I've ever actually liked, to be completely honest with you. So yeah, that's not my particular type of. I don't consider that a holiday personally, but yeah, hopefully you enjoyed it. I spent time with my mouse. DJ. How cute. There you go. He's just going to sit right here for a little bit. and look longingly into the camera. There. It's the best he can do for now. Perfect. Perfect. All right. So, So our topic for today is about keeping things to yourself, keeping things in. Not being able to express yourself even. That's a problem for a lot of people. A lot of people. And I guess, if it comes to, we're talking about like some of the orange nugget. I love that term. It's like if you have a problem, you should be able to express that. So that's very good that you're expressing it. So I'd say it hasn't even been a month yet. I guess it hasn't, has it? Oh my gosh. I guess it just feels like it's a lot longer because, he already was president for many years. So I don't know. I don't know. We were seeing orange nugget, civil rights. Yeah, it is hard to say, but usually I think a lot of that stuff will come down mostly to like state level stuff. So that's just my personal opinion on it. But we shall see. Yeah, we shall see, because it's kind of up. Some of the stuff could be up in the air for certain things, but yeah. We're going to try to keep this as positive as we can for now. That is the way I like to view it. I am of the optimistic mindset. Optimistic, but aware, aware of what's going on. But you have to be optimistic as well. It's like, okay, I don't think things are going to get as bad as most people think. But you have to be aware and be prepared. But that's a topic for another time. Yeah, that's a topic for another time. Yeah, that's actually, in a few weeks we'll be talking about that sort of topic. The topic of being afraid, but being prepared. Yes. So, bottling things up, keeping it all to yourself. How many of you have done this? If you don't raise your hand, then I know that you're probably not being honest. Because every single person has held something in at least one point in their life. Or maybe you're someone who does that a lot. You have some sort of feeling that you have. It could be something that is, you're hiding from other people. I try to be as open as I possibly can about, certain things. But there's plenty of things that I am very uncomfortable with when it comes to sharing my emotions about something. So if I have a problem with someone, I like to address that sort of conflict. But at the same time, it's also very hard for me to actually do that. So I end up keeping some things to myself a lot of times. And when you do that, what happens? Does anyone know what happens when you keep repressing how you feel about something? And it just keeps happening again and again and again. What happens then? What happens? Who knows? Who knows the answer to that? What happens when you keep repressing? Keep repressing. Let's say, I would like to say hello to Hey. How you doing, Hey? Hey. Long time, no live. Oh, you haven't been here in a while, have you? Okay. Yeah, we go live every Sunday. Every Sunday we are here every week. So let's see, how was my Valentine's Day? Mine was a normal day, like any other day. That's right. He is my Valentine. Yep, that's right. How cute. How cute. Look at that nose. Anyway, he's so warm now. Look, I was holding him and he was so warm. How cute is he? Oh. Anyway. Let's stop fiddling around now. He's just going to sit right there. And there's just one. The other one's on vacation. On vacation. He got left on vacation. Anyway. So yeah, bottling things up. What happens if you just keep bottling things up again and again? And you keep doing it. Let's say I had to go to A&E just before that. I don't. What is A&E? A&E is an American cable and satellite television networks and the flagship property of A&E Networks, a joint venture between Hertz Communication and the Walt Disney Company. Oh, that's amazing. I just love how I haven't just read that so like casually, like not even being like sarcastic at all. Just like reading it like I knew that's not what you meant, but it's a accident and emergency. Okay, I really hope that you are feeling better now, whatever happened to you. Yeah, I hope that things are doing a little better. Hope that you're feeling better. Yeah, that's the bad, isn't it? That's bad. That's really really bad when that happens, you know. But hopefully you're feeling better. You know, it's always a shame when some sort of emergency things happen, some sort of major accident. Sometimes we're not always prepared for that sort of stuff. So, look at me just playing with his ears. It is so cute, isn't it? So, when you keep bottling things up again and again and again, it's almost like the analogy that I like to compare it to is almost like if you just keep like shaking a soda until it like explodes. Now, of course, if you keep shaking a soda, it doesn't really explode, but that's the kind of an analogy. Or like here's another analogy, it's probably a little better. You keep putting stuff into the closet. You just keep jamming stuff into the closet. Just like, I don't need to deal with this right now. You just put it in. Until eventually, what's going to happen? It's all going to come falling out. It's going to come falling out and you're going to have to address it at that point. That's what happens when you keep bottling things up. When you keep not being able to address a situation in your life that is causing you problems, whether it be problems with your family, your friends, your spouse, whatever the other, whatever else is going on, problems at work even, problems wherever. When you are not able to talk about those problems, when you're not able to address them, it may seem fine initially, you just keep pushing them out of the way. It's like, I don't feel like doing it, until eventually it comes out. And when it comes out in full force. And usually that's not the best way of it coming out. Now, I've had this happen to me before, okay? I am fully aware that, it's like I'm not the best when it comes to communicating about certain things that I feel, especially with other people. It's very hard because I don't like to upset other people. It's very hard for me to express certain things that I know would be upsetting. But the fact remains that I know that that's something that I need to work on more, to be more honest, to express how I feel more. Because in one way, if you keep holding back how you feel, and you're lying to someone else saying you're fine when you're really not, in a way that is a form of lying. And I don't like lying. I cannot stand lying. If people are lying, I can always figure it out. Let me do this. There is no one who's going to be able to lie and get away with it from me. I can always tell. I can always tell when someone is lying, whether it be their body language, their actions that they do, or something else along those lines. If they're lying about something, I can usually always tell. So whatever the case is, that ain't going to fly around me. So that's why it's so important to realize that if you're not able to express yourself in a certain situation, if you're not able to open up about problems that you have to someone else, if you view it as a way of lying, that you're lying to them and lying to yourself by not addressing the problem, then maybe you'll be more compelled to actually be honest. It's like, someone asks you, are you having a good day today? This is like a very basic example. And you say, oh yeah, everything is fine. When you should be telling them that, no, you had a horrible day today. Maybe your boss was just hammering you with a bunch of work. You feel so overwhelmed that you're thinking about quitting, that you're having problems in other areas of your life. Maybe that's the time that you actually start to talk about those things, because I feel as though we hide a lot of that because we don't want to address it. We think that if we just swipe it out of our mind, that it's not going to be a problem anymore, that it's not going to be there anymore. But the fact remains is that it will always be there. As long as you are continuing to have the issues in your life, it will always be there. And that is a problem, because if you're not able to address it, if you're not able to communicate about it, and you just keep putting it in the back of your mind, it's going to come out eventually. And when it comes out, it's going to be disastrous in nature. That's what you have to remember. So, just something to really keep in mind when it comes to you bottling up things, problems that you have. I understand also that maybe certain people, we think that perhaps if we say that we have something wrong, that we are like begging for help maybe, or that we don't want to be a burden on someone else. We don't want to open up about how we feel about something because it could feel like a burden to other people. Unfortunately, that's not really how that works, because usually the other person could be very kind and generous and be able to help us in some sort of way. They may actually be able to offer advice to us if we open up to them, but the fact is we're actually limiting that advice from the other person because we're not opening up about how we feel about the situation. So if we're not able to open up to this other person who could potentially help us, then we're giving up something that could actually really benefit the situation and make us feel better, and actually maybe even give us a different perspective on the matter that will allow us to actually resolve the conflict a little better. That's something to think about. Let's say, only for extroverts, because introverts prefer to keep to themselves naturally. Yeah, I would say introverts, certainly it is a little bit harder to open up about certain things, but anyone can prevent themselves from opening up. It doesn't matter if you're introverted or extroverted. I would say usually when we think about introverts, yeah, they could keep to themselves a lot, but at the same time, introverts could be people who they are open and honest about a lot of stuff going on in their life, but their introverted nature means that they have a hard time being around other people for a long period of time. They need time to themselves to recharge. Like, I know people who are they are very open and honest about like almost everything in their life, but they're also introverted. So then I know people who are extroverted who are almost the complete opposite. It's like they have a lot of secrets in their life. They're a mystery. So it is a mixed bag depending on the person. It really is. So it depends. It depends. Look how cute. He is going to look up at the camera lovingly as his head gets stroked by my nails. How cute. How cute. Anyway. I learned to keep things to myself since my mother has been hostile towards me from a young age. So that actually leads right into the next point. Healing Granny, that actually leads right into the next point I was about to mention here. And that is, trauma from the past causes one to keep things hidden. When you have some sort of past trauma or something from childhood that conditions you to keep things private, keep things bottled up, it's often as a result of perhaps a narcissistic parent who perhaps gaslights you and makes you feel as though it's always your fault, or that you shouldn't talk about things, keep things a secret, like don't tell anyone else about this, don't tell anyone else about that. Or maybe even a family member that when you opened up to them as a kid, you were shunned, you were shamed. And it's like that basically forms your mindset. If I open up about how I feel about something, I will be shamed by other people. That takes a long time to start to rewrite within your mind. very, very long time. It's not impossible. You certainly can. But that actually is a major issue that I find for a lot of people. They keep things hidden because of something that happened in their past that they had to keep hidden. So they continue with that type of activity because it could be out of fear that other people are going to judge them, that they're going to be disliked by other people around them if they open up, that they're going to be made fun of even. Or it could be that if they open up about something that is important to them, that other people could try to sabotage it. Other people could be like, oh, this is what you're pursuing. Well, I am going to go out of my way to make sure that you can't pursue that. So that is the type of fear that some people have about opening up because of something that happened to them in the past. So yeah, trauma, past incidents that have happened, things from the past, all play a major impact when it comes to us being able to be open about who we are. Because if we were raised in a family that you could be very open and honest, it's like that was encouraged in your family to be open and honest about who you are, how you're feeling, and all things along those lines instead of keeping stuff secret, then I think that a child would end up growing up in a much better way, that they could be more open and honest about who they truly are. But if they come from a family that everything is kept a secret, that you're not allowed to talk about stuff, that you get shamed and shunned and, even bullied and harassed, even in school even, for opening up about stuff, then it causes one to repress things. Yeah. Okay, Hay says, as for me, relating to someone like a YouTube twin flame with similar life experiences help. Relating to someone like a YouTube twin flame. YouTube twin, what? Who is your YouTube twin flame? I'm curious. I used to be very, very interested in like the whole twin flame. I guess twin flame, soulmates. I talked about that sometime in the past. I haven't really thought about any of that sort of stuff recently. It's interesting because a lot of people think twin flame. And so, like, a lot of people think soulmate means twin flame, but it's actually a little different. So, because a soulmate can even be your enemy. A soulmate is usually, in my perspective, it is someone that comes into your life and has a profound impact that you're meant to have them in your life to change you, and they're meant to have you in their life to change them. And it could be someone who's even an enemy. So it doesn't have to necessarily be a positive experience. At least, just thinking about other my own experiences, thinking about the whole situation, thinking about other people's experiences that they have told me. That tends to be how it is. But I think twin flame is more of in a romantic sense. So yeah, it's very interesting. It's very interesting. Now, of course, your twin flame, I guess, would also be your soulmate, of course. But I think twin flame is specifically for the romantic aspect. So, yeah. Take another sip. So now what are perhaps repressed memories even that we may end up having? Repressed emotions, repressed memories, repressed feelings that we have about things. Now here's something that's very interesting. So repressed memories about stuff. So there's a major issue when it comes to repressed memories. And that is that a lot of times when you have memories that are kind of fuzzy within your mind and you start to think about them, because it's already quite fuzzy to begin with, you beginning to think about them is immediately altering that memory. You could add more detail or take details away or alter it in a way that could be positive or negative. This is what leads to false memories, where you start to form an idea within your mind about something that never actually happened, but because you keep thinking about it, you're like, oh yeah, I remember that, when that never happened. And this has actually been, it was very interesting. I forget where I saw the video, or how long ago I saw it rather, but it was these people who were shown photographs when they were a kid of doing something, doing some sort of activity. But the thing was, that wasn't even them as a kid. It was someone else. And they didn't remember it initially. It's like, oh yeah, don't you remember this? Don't you remember that? And then they were like, oh yeah, I do kind of remember that. But the thing is, it never happened. But they begin to start thinking, oh yeah, I do remember that. Oh yeah, I do remember that. It never happened. So what are they remembering? Well, they're not remembering anything. They're creating false memories within their mind. So when we think about repressed memories, here's something that's actually interesting. So I think there could be plenty of memories that are locked within our mind that something triggers the memory. That tends to be how some of these repressed memories come out. So, for example, I remember this happened to me it was a long time ago. I had touched something in the house, and because of like the texture of it or something, I don't really remember. It was either the texture or just the way it felt. It immediately brought back a memory of that particular item, of something that I did with that item, whatever it was. It was so long ago, I don't even remember the specifics, but I was just like frozen for a minute, just kind of thinking like, oh my gosh, that was like such a long time ago. That's so interesting. You know, it's like, that's so interesting. It's like the muscle memory that happens. Think about muscle memory, like when you start to change something up with your workflow, with your computer, with the way that you do your routine, you have a muscle memory for a while. So it's almost as if it kind of stays there to a degree, and if something brings it back, you know, that is what can be referred to as triggers. Trigger happens. So if something traumatic happened to you when you were young and it involved, let's say it involved this cute little mouse, okay? For whatever reason, your abuser used this cute little mouse to do heinous activities to you, whatever it could be, to traumatize you. Okay? And then many years later, you're not thinking about this mouse at all. No, you're not thinking about it. And all of a sudden, you see him. And then the memories come flooding back in. You're like, oh my gosh, I totally forgot about that. That wasn't even there in my mind. You know? That's how PTSD starts. That whole thing is basically PTSD. And that's a major problem for a lot of people. So it could be a sound. It could be something that you see. It could be something else along those lines. So it's a little bit off topic, but you know, it's still an interesting thing to talk about, right? An interesting thing. Anyway, I would like to say hello to Jet Set Girl. How are you doing today? Hopefully you're doing fantastic. Let's say Twin Flame is someone I find a lot in common in life experiences and in general. Yeah, absolutely. Twin Flame. I don't know. You know, I would say, I mean, I guess there's been quite a few people in my life that I've been able to connect on all sorts of levels, you know? Like some people, it's like, okay, I'm able to connect with them on this particular level. I understand where they're coming from. I understand what their mindset is. I have the same interests overlap as them. But then they don't have any of the interest over here that I have. And that's when you meet other people. It's like, oh, you have this interest that I have. This is something that's very important to me. And you believe that. I believe the same thing. It's amazing. It's great. But then they don't understand other stuff. You know what I mean? So when I started to realize that a long time ago, I started to realize, you know, there is no perfect person out there, if that makes sense. Because every single person is going to bring something different to the table. They're going to bring you something different that you can connect with them on. But they're never going to bring everything. It's too much. It's too much. So you have to just find what is the most meaningful. But I would have to say a lot of those will be friendships. I guess if you're looking for a romantic relationship, it would be whatever is the most valuable things in your life, the things that you are the most passionate about. Who is that person that shares similar values, who can bring you up and you bring them up in a mutual exchange, and you're able to enhance each other's lives, that would be a romantic relationship. But you don't have to have the same interest in a lot of other stuff. Maybe you have totally complete different opposite experiences and interests. You know? Doesn't mean it can't be a romantic thing. It's mostly just whatever is like the deepest things that you really are passionate about. Jet Set Girl, good to see you. You are doing so well. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, because I've been through plenty of health challenges and other problems in my life and everything, but I always work through it. No matter how challenging it is, I always work through it. And that is what sets me apart from probably most people, because most people would probably give up. Let's be fair. Most people would indeed be giving up about now, They wouldn't really be thinking from the perspective that I do. So, my perspective being, never give up. Always put the maximum effort you can possibly do into something so that you can benefit from it and learn from it. Okay. I'd say that's related to mentally unstable or to all. It's not normal to live in the past. You're absolutely right. It's not normal to be living in the past. But with people who have PTSD in particular, they do live a lot in the past. And that is something that is very hard for them to overcome because they have triggers that will constantly remind them. If someone mentally is healthy and they don't live in the past, they have to remove negativity or generational hexes that bring them to the past. Only cleansing should return to present and future. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. Yeah, if you live in the past, if you're stuck in the past and how you used to be, that is a major problem. But I would say the unfortunate truth is probably most people are stuck in the past. They long for things that they wish to have in the past. They wish they could go back in time and change their life. Try to say, I have regrets about something, so I want to go back in time and change that. I wish I had started doing this. I wish I had learned that sooner. I wish whatever the case is. When you have regrets about something, that means that you're not grateful for the learning opportunities that have happened. And you can't be living in the past. You have to live in the present moment. But it's also a problem living in the future as well. You don't want to live in the future of all these possibilities of what may happen, because that causes anxiety. So it is mostly about living in the present moment. What is happening in the here and now? What is the most important thing in life? It is what's happening right this very moment. Right this very moment, I am touching this cute little mouse's ears. He likes it. He doesn't want to think about the past when I wasn't touching his ears, or the future when I would not be touching his ears. He needs to just live in the present moment when I am touching his ears. Because if he's thinking about what may happen, he's going to be upset when I'm not going to be touching them anymore. Look, I make such a silly example. It makes a lot of sense. Who else would like their ears rubbed? We would do it virtually. That's right, virtual. Virtual. Yeah. So we touched on this a little bit, but lies eventually make their truth known. Lies always come out to some degree. Much like I said earlier, it's like people can't really fool me with lies because I can always spot it. I can always see. I'm very observant with other people's actions and their motives, and even in my environment, I'm aware of every single person. I'm aware of everything else going on around me, and I know what is going on. It's very rare to try to trick me in any sort of way. It's not possible. I mean, it is possible, but it's very hard to. So I pay attention to every little detail I see, I hear, and I just pay attention. So it's interesting. It's interesting. So when you keep bottling stuff up, when you keep repressing a lot of stuff, much like what we mentioned before, it's eventually going to come out. And the lies eventually come out. So if you keep lying about something, like if you are, I guess a good example is if you're cheating on someone and you keep lying to them and they're very gullible and they believe all the lies. Soon there's going to be start to have some inconsistencies with some of your lies. And when there's inconsistencies, they could get a little bit suspicious. Eventually lies will eventually come out because you can't keep a lie up forever. You really can't. They will eventually come out, even if it takes a long time. They eventually will. They eventually will. I want to say hello to Uriel. Great to have you here. How are you doing? I'll get to your comment in just a moment here. But Hayes says, I have been through that for many years, but working hard in healthcare made it even worse, as if I picked up everything with me from work. You know, obviously, hey, you are much like me, that I am very sensitive to other people's energies. Being around other people, I can pick up on a lot of things from them, which is why it's usually very hard for me to be in like large crowds and everything, or even around people who are just very, very upset and depressed and sad. It's like I can pick up a lot of on that energy, and it brings me down a lot. It really does. So the best thing you can possibly do is to just try to strengthen yourself so that you don't allow other people to control you, or just take, if you can, recharge yourself during some sort of break that you have from work. That is also a very big beneficial thing. Uriel says, it's so beautiful to witness an integrated self, blissful even. Absolutely, absolutely. You have to be able to integrate various parts of who you are, your personality, because a lot of times we, even if we haven't been through severe trauma from childhood, human nature is very, very fragmented as it is. We keep a lot of things separate when they should not necessarily be as separate as they actually are. We keep our emotions separate from coming to the surface and talking about them, as we talked about keeping things bottled up. Some people even live multiple different lives, like they have a life that they live at work and they present one image of themselves, and then at home they're a completely different person, and then they're a completely different person around their family even. So you have to be able to pinpoint exactly what's going on and realize things are a little bit different. Things are a little bit different with my personality. Like, why am I repressing certain memories and emotions? And you have to be able to integrate those into your core self. What allows you to do that is openness and honesty, being your true authentic self. That is primarily what you have to do in life. That's basically how I managed to get through this process myself, because I was in a spot where it's like I wasn't able to face a lot of my challenges. Things seemed too difficult for me. Things were very hard. But I eventually started to really think about my life much deeper, and I was very passionate about improving my overall well-being. So what I decided to do was just really work hard at figuring out the reasons why I am the way that I am. And I started to learn about myself. I started to learn the reasons why I was the way that I was. And once I learned that, I'm like, so while it's really not my fault that I turned out this way, as an adult, I'm able to change that. I'm able to have better control over myself, over my life. And that's what I managed to be able to do. So, Anna, it is great to have you here. How are you doing today? Let's see. Yep, I had to work on that, and now no social situations could F me up apart from visiting the hospital. Okay. Yeah, don't allow social situations to mess you up at all. Yeah, be your true authentic self and recharge when you need to, because obviously, yeah, you and I are very similar in that way. Yeah, we're very similar. Okay, Anna says, I think I'm trans, but I just can't face transitioning no matter what. It's a tricky one, isn't it? A tricky one. Well, if you think you were trans, I would certainly recommend, talking this over with someone, who understands this situation, to be able to put yourself in a much better place to really figure out what you want out of life. Really, if you are truly trans, or maybe there's something else going on in your life that you need to address. Because a lot of times it could be that there could be something else going on in our life that's making us feel a certain way, but it may not necessarily be what we think that it is. So we have to be the one to really start to think about it. Think about our own life. Look how cute. Look how cute. Isn't he so cute? He is. uh, anyway, let us continue on now. Let's say I had to cut off toxic connections with someone I wanted too bad, because last time I saw them, I couldn't remember anything at all. Very interesting. Yeah, we briefly talked about this earlier. I'm not sure if you were here, but I made the mention of people come into your life for a purpose, and they often leave your life as well, when they're no longer needed. Something to remember, because that's happened to me plenty of times as well. People come into my life when I need them. We grow. I grow. They grow. We both change. But we change in ways that are different, that we're no longer compatible anymore. This happened plenty of times. Plenty of times. Plenty of times. So, yep. Uriel says, I believe body dysphoria comes from beauty standards. I feel my masculine, feminine soul fluidity and don't feel shame on acting a little gay, even being male and heterosexual. Yeah, I would say it has to do with your own confidence to be able to express yourself. Because yeah, as you mentioned, it's the beauty standards. Like, what are the standards that you have to live up to? What society says a man or a female should do, or what they should look like. Maybe you don't want to live up to those standards. Maybe that's not who you are. So just learn to express yourself and be who you truly are. That's what it's all about. That's what it's all about. And the last thing here, I guess, regarding this topic is to not let other people control your life. So when you are bottling stuff up, how does this relate to that? Well, you may bottle stuff up because you feel that if you're open about something, someone else is going to judge you. You're letting someone else control your life. By you not being honest, you not being open about a situation, other people have some sort of control over your life, and that is a major problem. So learn to be able to be open about who you truly are. No matter how difficult it is, no matter how challenging it is. It will be challenging to be open and honest about who you are and not let other people affect you. But you can do it with enough time and dedication of figuring out what you truly want out of life and sticking with what your passions are. What are your goals? What do you want to achieve? Look at this cute little mouse right here. He wants, later, I want to achieve sniffing feet. Boys and leaders, I saw you watching me. That's the only free content that you get. Okay, DJ? Okay, boy. Okay. How cute. How cute. Now, folks, we have a surprise here. Hopefully some people will get this. Who got it? Who got it? Edgar Allan Poe. I recognize that name. Congratulations. Lil Laura K. Congratulations. Malor congrats. Sarah Britton, congratulations. Last one. And Lily Sergey, congratulations to all of you. So all of you have gotten gift memberships to the channel. It is the second tier, which allows you to get early access to new videos before they're publicly available to anyone else. So you get a free 30-day membership, and you can always continue your paid membership after that. But congratulations on getting it. I only recognize one of the names, but unfortunately it was no one that's actually here in this chat today. That tends to be how it is a lot of times. YouTube gives them out to people who aren't actually really here, so you know how it is. I wish it would give them out to people who were actually here, but it did not. It did not, unfortunately. So, yeah. Oh well. What we gonna do? You know, what we gonna do? Let's see. Uriel says, trans one from Europia series is kind of hot. What? Okay. Who is this? Who is this? Who are we talking about? I don't know who this is. Let me see. Who's this trans person? Okay, looks like it is Hunter Sheriff. Okay. Let's see the hotness meter. Let's see what is a good rating for this individual. Let me get some photos here. Let me see. I'm gonna say it's a female, so you know, almost as tall as me. I'm like an inch taller. I'm like an inch taller. I would say maybe a 5.5 out of 10. 5.5 out of 10. Anyway, so that person is still waiting for my initiative to catch up, but something is stopping me. Nice mood tonight. Indeed, it is a nice mood, right? Nice mood. I've never heard of that person. I have no idea who they are. Favorite actor? Okay, yeah, I'm not familiar with all these actors and everything. I don't pay attention to them. I don't pay attention to them. Yeah, it's not my style. Not my style, folks. Hmm. 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 So let's see what the theme of the coming week is. I think it's gonna be very interesting. I forget what the theme was last week. I wish I paid more attention because this past week for me, there was a lot of crazy stuff that happened. A lot. Some of it good, some of it weird. So let's shuffle the cards and let's remember we have it. Rooster is always in awesome mood. Oh, thank you, Laser. Yeah. There you go. He's going to sit right there and sniff the gift. He's going to sniff the L in asphodel. Ah. He's sniffing the L. Anyway, so the theme of the week. Let's see what card that we end up pulling here. We get. Maybe it was my. Are you sitting on my cheat sheet? Oh, here's my cheat sheet. Okay. Let's check what card that we end up getting here. So we have here. Let's see what week this is going to be. The Ace of Pentacles. Pentacles is usually like money related. Ace of Pentacles is prosperity, happiness, and pleasure. Maybe there's going to be some sort of miraculous, or you're going to come into a lot of money this week. Maybe there's going to be a lot of money coming your way even. Maybe a lot of happiness. Maybe there's going to be something very positive that's going to happen this week to you. You know, maybe, something very, very good, very, very good. So yes, that's to be optimistic that this week could bring us good fortune and positivity. A lot of positive things happening. A lot of good things happening. It's not always good. Everything's not always good, and we can't, not view the negative stuff, but maybe this week something very good is going to happen. Could be finance related even. That tends to be what the pentacles represent. So, yeah. Maybe you're going to get a nice juicy fat paycheck and you're not going to squander it all. Maybe. Who knows? Regardless. Let's finish up our tea and then we shall conclude it. I like how when you said rooster is always a good mood and you sent a rooster. It should be this mouse. That's the mouse it should have been. Look how cute. He's so cute. See, look, there he is. There he is. Anyway, folks, I'm going to wish you a fantastic week ahead. If our card is correct, it's going to be a very prosperous week ahead. We're going to be able to maybe come into a lot of money or a lot of good fortune, a lot of positive things. So, whatever it may be, just always be aware. Okay, so thank you all so very much for tuning in. I will be live again here next Sunday. So, you all take care. Have a great one. And see you later, boys and ladies. Bye-bye. Actually, wait. Bye-bye. How cute. Bye.